almost 1,000 kids, and we intend to keep going into the schools to do that. Each kid is going to be a role model for their siblings and cousins. And also under PSN, we're taking the bad guys off the streets. Felons who possess firearms can go away to a federal prison for up to 10 years. Even if they possess a bullet, they can go away for up to 10 years. And going hand in hand with firearms is also drugs. Drug of choice in Guam, CNMI, is ice. We all know that. We read about all the horror stories. When Alicia and I were working in the AG's office, we heard of 9-year-olds who were addicted to ice. I mean, that's bad. You know, that is a real bad situation. But the organized crime drug enforcement task forces are going after the major drug dealers, and we continue to do that. Another priority for the department is to instill confidence in our public institutions. If the people have lost trust in their elected officials and their public services, anarchy may not be too far away, and that's a stretch to say that, but you know, look at other countries where there isn't that trust. Public corruption can infect the lowest public servant to its highest. And we continue to do that. A recent example seen is in the CNMI, where the former Lieutenant Governor was convicted of public corruption. We had a meeting with Assistant Secretary Tony Babauta to talk about bringing back the IG investigators and auditors for DOI. So we plan to do more of that. Human trafficking and exploitation of children, those are issues that we are working with. I'm working very closely with the Attorney General here on those issues. We formed an alliance, if you will, with the Hawaii Task Force to fight that, and we will do that. And we'll be sharing resources under those agreements. We will have soon computer forensics investigators on island dedicated to do that. As late as next year, we may have 2 of them on island. Will that be enough? I don't know. It's a start. So we will do that. But we have, you know, other initiatives that we can talk about in the time that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Rapata. As the moderator, I get to ask the first sets of questions, so here they are. The first questions that I'd like to ask, and I'll start with Chief Camacho, and we'll just go down the line, are these. How is your organization planning to provide additional services to a larger population? And what does your organization need to have in place in order to be prepared for the population influx?
I think with any law enforcement, we have to have more personnel, and that's across the board. We have more personnel to cover down all the different responsibilities. Of course, that is always going to be an issue, financial issue, where we're going to get the funding, and the issue of you know, how do we divvy up all the money from the economy that we expect to receive? Should it go to the police? Should it go to the airport? All these different priorities. That will be dependent on the governor and where these priorities will be. Of course, we look at all of these alternatives. Like right now, I was talking with the Senator Palacios regarding establishing a reserve program and using some of our citations to fund that and have a stipend for the officers. Currently, I have an officer right now going through some terrorist training school in Hawaii, Asian Pacific Security Studies, because we believe that we need to have a global intelligence gathering center within the airport to understand what we are facing. So these are just some of the areas we're preparing for. We're working with TSA more closely and looking at our different regulations and how can we best work together. Our canine division section will be undergoing an audit process somewhere in January and see how the dogs respond accordingly and with a certain standard. Again, because of the military coming in, we have to look at what the potential threat is. We have the Philippines out there, Indonesia, all these areas within hours, the potential threat for our borders. Even the civilian side, DUI checkpoints, we have a federal program that we're working on, and that encompasses other areas, not just within the airport, but within the perimeters. We are looking at a special response team We currently need to have that in place. Given what has happened just recently in the past couple of weeks with what happened in Fort Hood and another incident just recently where there was an active shooter, we need to make sure that we are in place. We have a good response team in place, like a SWAT team within the airport. There are many other areas that we're looking at training, and we're working with other agencies with that regard to that.
Thank you, Chief Camacho. Chief Suba?
Same question.
Same question.
Well, there's a lot of training that is being conducted both by local GPD. We train also with the FBI and DEA and all the other federal agencies. The military counterparts have helped us immensely with some of the training to include the SWAT that are trained by the SEAL team and you name it that we can get on island. But our brothers and sisters down under have also lent a helping hand. The Australian Federal Police, as well as the Pacific Island Chiefs of Police and that organization. Here locally, we established in the region the Micronesian Police Executives Association. So our counterparts on many of the islands in this vicinity have partnered with us because they know that anything that will affect Guam will affect them, whether it be drug smuggling, human smuggling, or now the event of this military buildup that we're anticipating. So like airport and all our other brothers and sisters, Port Police, Customs, and some of the other local agencies, we have been in a continuous dialogue, whether it be training or sharing of equipment. And so I believe that we've been gearing up not only for the military buildup, but just because of the way things are evolving in the world. And so that's where we're at.
Thank you, Chief Suba. Attorney General Lim Tiaco.
Thank you. As with our law enforcement counterparts, increased personnel is always a major consideration. Every year, we have asked for a budgetary appropriation that we hope will meet and allow our office to better perform our mandates and duties. Unfortunately, given limited government resources, that does not happen. There is going to be definitely a need for high-caliber, seasoned, experienced attorneys, legal support staff, and critical funding for special prosecutors and expert witnesses with this build-up. Currently in our prosecution division, we have 16 prosecutors who handle adult felonies and misdemeanors. We have approximately over 13,000 open criminal cases. We have a shortage of senior prosecutors with extensive prosecutorial experience, and certainly with the buildup, we anticipate that the caseload of the prosecutors will exceed 500 cases per prosecutor. And so the need for more investigative, prosecutorial, and legal support staff is a must. In our family division, who confers and consults and provides counsel with the Child Protective Services, we also will know that we will get an increase in juvenile delinquency and special proceedings cases where you have referrals of children who have been abused and neglected. We have only 4 attorneys currently in our family division, and as of last year, they filed over 665 cases involving children in family court, and we do expect that number to rise as we move forward with the anticipated increase in population. In our Child Support Enforcement Division, we have only 5 attorneys. They service, as of last year, over 14,700 children. That's 1/4 of all of Guam's children here on island. They had 96